Hi, my name's Laura Batante. This is My Two Bits. Today we're going to be creating this really cute little paper frog. I think he's perfect for spring. And for this project, you are going to need some green paper, cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and another color for his spots. Or if you would like, you could just take a felt pen and color on the original cardstock, and that will change it up a bit, and you could use that for your spots, your choice, or you could just color on with a felt pen or whatever you like. Also, we are going to, of course, need the template, which is available right there in the video's notes. You'll also need scissors, and we're going to need a ruler. I like to use paper clips to hold the stencil onto the paper while I cut it out. We're going to need googly eyes. I've chosen 2 different sizes, and a black pen for the mouth. And then you could use double-sided tape, or you may use a glue stick or some good quality crafty glue, not the white stuff that's really thin, because it's just a little bit too runny and it'll probably make a big mess. I have a thumbtack here. That's for scoring lines. And also I have my X-Acto knife. Now, if you're allowed to use an X-Acto knife, you could cut some of your lines with it, but if you're not, then no worries. Just use the template and cut with your scissors. All right, let's get started. So first thing we need to do is cut out all of our pieces. And you can see here it says cut to the edge of paper. So we want one big strip for the body, and then we're going to need 2 more strips that do the same thing for his legs, and then these are the other pieces that you're going to need. Now, when we are cutting out the pieces to make our craft, it's really important to cut around not only the stencil, but also make sure that you cut off the excess cardstock to make it easier for yourself. It's just so much easier to cut if you do that. And then you can just hold it on with a paper clip and start your cuts. Okay, so I'm going to cut them all out and then we'll meet back. All right, so I have all of my pieces, and so I decided for this particular frog I was going to use the felt pen, and so you can see that I have made some slightly darker spots, and those are the ones that I'm going to use on my frog. Again, you could draw right on the frog if you want to, and in just a minute is the time that would be best to do that. So the first thing that we need to do is take our ruler and make a few measurements, because we want the front of the frog to be 4 inches wide. I should measure that for you in centimeters, and that is like 10.2. It doesn't have to be exact, don't worry about it. And so I am using the grid on my cutting mat, but you should make 2 measurements if you don't have a cutting mat. And then I'll take my thumbtack and I'm just going to score my lines, because that makes it just a little bit easier to fold nice and accurate if you have those lines on there. All right, so now we're going to just bend it, lining everything up. So if you can't score it because you can't find anything to score it with, just make sure that you're lining up this edge. And now what we're going to do to get the roundness on the front is we're going to put glue on the back, and we're going to overlap this about 1 inch. But before we do that, we are going to put some of our pieces on so that it'll be a little bit easier for us, and also draw his face, his smile on. Okay, so I attached the eyeballs onto the little eyelid template, and I put some glue on, and then I just put it in the center here and attached it, and I want my eyeballs to stick up quite high. Now I need to keep in mind that my legs are going to be right here. And in fact, it might be a good idea for us to attach those before we put the smile on, just so that nobody forgets. So we're going to fold our leg over and leave ourselves just about 1/2 inch I'll give you a measurement here in centimeters. Let's say 1.5 centimeters. And then we're just going to fold that in half. And then we're going to fold that in half. And we're going to do the same thing here. If it's not exact, don't worry. Oops. Probably should keep that there for reference. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, here's the part when you go to stick your legs on. This piece we want to have tucked under so that the way it attaches. If you get it wrong, it's not going to be a big deal. We're just going to flip it around. It's certainly not going to be a big crisis or anything, but that's the ideal. And we're only putting glue on the bottom inch or 2.5 centimeters because we really want those legs to stick out and be all kind of frog-like. So those go just up against the line where we have the fold. I'm going to do the same on this side. All right, now we're going to take our pencil and very lightly make a big smile for our frog. And when we get it so that we like it, we'll go over with our black pen. Doesn't matter if it's crooked because it just gives him some character. All right, and now I'm going to put on my dots. Now, his front legs are going to come however you like them. So sort of put them where you think you might like his front legs, and then we're going to work around them when we put our dots on, or spots. So if I'm holding those there, I'll put this guy here. And you can put them anywhere you like. These dots are a little more subtle than the other ones because of the fact that I colored them. And again, like I said, if you want to use crayons or felt pens and color some, go for it. All right, so now, you know what, I'm just thinking, I don't recall how I did it when I made the, I think he's okay like this. We'll put the legs on last. Okay, so now we're going to do this part, and hopefully you still have your paper clips because we're going to use those to help hold things in place while it dries. So again, we're aiming for about an inch or 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to put glue on this piece here and then this piece here, sort of doubling up on the situation. And then we're pulling them together. And it's really important to line up the bottom so that he'll sit nice and straight. And then we're just going to put on the paper clip while it dries. Help hold things in place. He's really coming along. So we're going to let that dry for a bit, and then we will put the feet on. All right, so now we are going to do his feet, and we are going to put a little bit of glue right here on that little bent piece, and then that sits here. So his foot basically looks like that when you have it glued on. That way, he can actually sit. He can't sit right now because I still have the paper clip on, but he'll actually be able to hold his little feet underneath him. I can demo over here. There we go. So those can tuck right underneath, like so. All right, so now we are going to put this guy on. He's maybe a little bit awkward to work with his legs flying everywhere, but I think the legs are what make him really fun. Okay, so there are those, and then we're just going to bend the edges down on his, up on his front feet there, and put some glue on there. And I just attach those right like so. There. So now when he sits, those are at the front. And if I take this off, sure it's dry, then you can see how well he sits. Well, that's the finished product, and I think they're pretty fun. If you enjoyed this video, then I really appreciate it if you give me a like and consider subscribing to my channel. That would help me out a lot. So thanks very much for joining me today.